Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, host of the hit show Conspiracy Theory on TruTV, joins us for a full hour. Very honored because he's not doing this as part of a press promotion. This is probably his last interview of the year before he goes to Mexico for 6 months. We're very honored to have him, and I'm honored to call him a friend, somebody I really respect, somebody who's got real integrity. Jesse Ventura, also, he's had the New York Times best-selling book this year. Of course, American Conspiracies, amazing information, and he's with us here for the next hour. We're going to cover his take on WikiLeaks and these calls to basically start arresting people that report on government corruption. We're going to talk about the last finale show tonight with some breaking info with the Pentagon strike. That's the last show tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to get, obviously, into last week's incredible show on the Gulf. Jesse Ventura joins us from his home in Minnesota. Gov, good to have you here with us.
Oh, thank you, Alex. Always a pleasure to be here. And what's the weather like down in Austin now? We got plenty of cold and snow up here for you.
Yeah, you had the football dome collapse. Oh, it's about 50 degrees. It was 75 2 days ago.
Hey, speaking of the football dome, I actually called the local media guy that fields these questions. And I don't know, I guess I'm getting too much like you, Alex, because when I saw the dome collapse and I saw that Fox News had a camera running, the first thing that popped into my head was, it wasn't Fox News, excuse me, Fox TV that does football. Why would they have a camera running inside the dome at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Sounds like a staged event.
Yeah, think about it.
Well, we know they're wanting a new stadium.
Exactly. Why would they have a camera? I can't for the life of me. I mean, the game wasn't until noon. They certainly would have ample time to get their feeds. I've done football. You have plenty of time, in a couple of hours before the game to ensure the feeds are there, the cameras are where they're supposed to be. Why would they be running the camera at 5 a.m. in the morning, which caught the collapse perfect?
Well, they wouldn't stage an event to get a billion-dollar new stadium they've been demanding. The Cowboy Stadium they just completed last year cost $1.2 billion. I mean, they wouldn't use this as a pretext to demand a new stadium, Governor.
Well, it's for sure they're going to get one now. It seems like a foregone conclusion that, that they're going to have to build a new stadium for them now. But I don't know. Doesn't it seem strange to you, Alex?
Didn't we have the highway collapse up there, too?
Yeah, the bridge collapsed on the highway also.
That was pretty suspicious, a lot of experts and engineers said. You've got a good point. And in fact, I remember reading about that luckily they had a camera at 5 a.m. in the morning. That sounds pretty implausible. Like 1 out of 1,000?
Well, but the point is, why would Fox Television be running? Now, they've gotten further film from security cameras that were going, but why was Fox Television running a camera at 5 a.m.? And I'd like to know this. At what? Did they run the camera all night, or when was the camera actually turned on?
Yeah, I mean, if they have nothing to hide, we should get Fox Sports TV on the horn. Well, you said that you actually called him.
No, I didn't. I just called the local guy on the news and posed that question to him.
What did he say?
He said that they thought of that too and they thought that was pretty peculiar. But I don't know if anything more will happen with it or not, but I just thought it was pretty strange that Fox Television would run a camera at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Are you calling for an investigation?
No. No.
Why, because they won't investigate it?
Well, I don't know. It's not that important to me. I just found it peculiar.
Yeah, but if taxpayers are going to have to fit the bill for a billion-dollar new stadium or perhaps more, I tell you, that sounds like, I think you're on to something, Governor.
I don't know, but it just seemed awful peculiar to me, Alex. Do we got to go to break?
Yes, sir. All right, Governor Ventura with breaking news. The Minnesota Stadium collapse conspiracy. We're going to get into WikiLeaks, the governor not flying, the new TV show tonight? Well, if you just joined us, the one, the only, Governor Jesse Ventura is here with us. He was telling me off air, I said, hey, too bad Larry King's retiring, and he had an interesting behind-the-story tie into the TSA with that. We'll talk about that briefly. We're going to get into the governor's concerns about WikiLeaks, his view, the incredible final show in the second season set to air tonight, dealing with the Pentagon and 9/11. I want to get him to talk about the amazing episode that I was so honored to be a part of, dealing with the Gulf, some of the behind-the-scenes things. We're going to talk about it all here in the next 51 minutes. But, Governor, you dropped a bombshell on us, and I'd seen people point this out, but you even made some better points during the break, dealing with the Mall of America dome collapse, reportedly from the snow. Recap the point you made, because, I mean, it's really suspicious.
Well, I don't know if it is or isn't, Alex. There could be a logical explanation, but nobody's asked the questions. They've just focused on the fact that the dome collapsed. But the other interesting thing was when I watched, and I was just watching the same thing everyone else was watching, right on Fox Sports with Howie Long and Terry Bradshaw and all the Jimmy Johnson and all them on TV, and they showed it. And the first time I watched it, I thought, how peculiar that they would have a camera running from Fox Sports at 5 in the morning, and how peculiar that they never even had to adjust it. The camera was like focused right in on where the collapse took place, and no adjustment was even needed, hardly. And the dome's a pretty big building.
That is crazy. In fact, we're showing the footage now, and they actually had two different cameras focused in right where it happens, one a close shot, one a wide shot. Governor, that is...
Well, and I mean, there may be a logical explanation, Alex. I don't know, But I just find it peculiar that as to why I just like someone to say why they were running, why Fox Sports was running cameras at 5 a.m.
That's amazing. At 5 a.m., they're running cameras in high def and recording it when no one's in there at 5 a.m. Central Time. That's 3 a.m. Pacific.
Well, and it's how many hours before the game? The kickoff is noon. So you're talking 7 hours before the kickoff. Anyway, let's move on. Enough on that.
Very interesting. Let's talk about Larry King. I said, too bad Larry King, after 25 years, really leading CNN to prominence, that he's retiring, and you had a tie into that. You were invited to be on his finale show, but you can't go.
Well, I don't know if I was to be on the show, but I was invited to the party and all of that stuff. There was a big hoopla, and I felt bad about it, but I can't go because it would require me to fly commercial airlines, and I refuse to fly commercial airlines anymore because I feel they're violating my Fourth Amendment right of the Constitution, and that's reasonable search and seizure. I believe that as Jesse Ventura, I pose no threat, and so it's not reasonable for me to be submitted to all of the search that I have to face every time I fly simply because I have a disability. And, it takes my disability and makes it to where it exposes my disability rather than accommodate it. And so I just make the choice. I refuse to fly rather than be searched the way they do, which I believe is a sexual assault to the level if they did it on the street, they couldn't search you that way. And so it's just a personal stand I've made, and unfortunately, I was invited to be part of Larry's final night and be part of the big party and hoopla afterwards, and I apologize to him, but it would have required me to fly out there and subject myself to that, and I've made the stand, and I won't do it.
Governor, what's your view on the announcement that first 800 Walmarts, now 9,000, there's a Homeland Security press release, 9,000 retail stores, including Mall of America, are going to have giant telescreens with Janet Napolitano telling you to watch other shoppers, telling you to spy on your neighbors. Homeland Security is coming out with iPhone apps where you spy on your neighbor. I mean, now they're...
well, you know what my response is, Alex? I would just encourage everybody to go out to the library or go online or go where you have to go to get reading material and to start reading history on the Nazis.
Yes.
I think that that would be a good thing for people to do, to simply refresh your memory over the fact that history always repeats itself. And so you can always go back in history and you can learn from history and you can watch certain things as they fall into place and what they led to. The ultimate result. You know, that's what I find so amazing is how when I was governor 10 years ago almost, some of the things that I did 10 years ago are showing up today. And that's what history truly is. And so I would encourage people to get books and go back and read about what the things that went on in Nazi Germany and then compare them to certain things that they're doing here. And always remember what Albert Einstein said. A foolish faith in authority is the enemy of the truth.
Well, Governor, there's been a new twist to that. Speaking of Nazi Germany, they first started with unpopular political groups, but then expanded it to everybody else. They claim all this is for Muslim extremists, but now we learn from the MIAC and Homeland Security reports, as your show also documented in the police state episode, that it's for Ron Paul supporters, Bob Barr supporters, gun owners, libertarians. Here's an Infowars.com article, but it links to the major union websites. Thousands of unions with millions of members are now being ordered by Homeland Security. Steelworkers unions, taxi cab, you name it. They've got to get a government biometric ID card, be government drug tested, and you have to file an application with Homeland Security before you can have a job in America. And now
that's absurd. If that's true, Alex, that is completely absurd. And you know, I just throw my arms up and go, why are we letting them get away with this? You know, all you can do is I'll keep showing my show and we'll keep talking, and hopefully out there people will start listening and say enough is enough.
Well, you're absolutely right on that point. You know, I do see a big awakening taking place. Thanks to...
I hope so. I hope we're not asleep at the wheel. Because these things are dangerous, and many of the little things, you just look at them as small things, they become big then. You know, like I said, this enhanced airport security at the airport. My big question is, who have they stopped? Wouldn't it be a big news story if they caught someone actually trying to get on a plane?
Well, Governor,
I never hear that. Do you?
Well, no, you don't. But, Governor, as you know, they continually catch the underwear bomber being helped on by the U.S. government. Source, Detroit Free Press, Associated Press. They, Anwar al-Awlaki, Fox News reported, the number 3 in Al-Qaeda, has been in command of all these latest patsies. Oh, by the way, even Geraldo Rivera and Judge Andrew Napolitano have both come out and said that the official 9/11 story is impossible and that it's just like the JFK assassination, a fraud. What do you think about that courage? You've always been calling for other people to have courage.
Well, if the judge and Geraldo actually did that, I wasn't privy to that, but I'm not privy to everything, certainly, especially when I'm heading to Mexico. But if they said that, then good for them, and hooray for the First Amendment to the Constitution, because, you know, ultimately that's what we're fighting here, you know, is our rights and the disintegration of our Bill of Rights. And it all falls under that, and it falls dangerously because I've said it so many times, when government says they're going to protect you, well, then part of that protection is you losing your freedoms. And you have to be willing to give up your freedoms for that protection. I'm not. I would rather face the adversaries, and I would rather face whatever it is we have fear of than to lose my freedoms. I think losing our freedoms is far more important. And to me, Alex, it means that if there is this opposition and there is this group of people out there that want America